And we're live for the Power Chat series with Mr. Michael Williams, and this is the Hit International's post show. So, how are you doing, Mr. Williams?
I'm doing fantastic. Doing fantastic. Just finished a good practice and I'm feeling pretty good.
Great. I see that you're at the karate school right now, so I'm excited for an awesome interview with you and reflecting on you and your students' experiences at the Hit Internationals. So, tell me, how did the tournament go for you guys?
It went really, really good. We actually had a few students come down a few days before the tournament and just take in the sights, the scenes, the get a little R&R. A few came down Wednesday before. That way they could, you know, tour around the city, let the kids have some fun, the adults have some fun. Hey, it's Miami. So they really did good coming down early. I flew in Friday night because I was doing a summer camp. So I usually come a day early as well, but this was my first year doing summer camp. So I actually had to catch a late flight out on Friday night, but I did stay an extra day down there. I didn't return until Monday, but um, it was really a really, really good event. As always, this is a tournament we've been going to since I want to say 2013, 14. And each year we usually um, drive down. We'll rent 3 or 4 vans, 15 passenger vans, and pile it all in and come down to support Corey and his great event. So this is my first time flying. So and the only way is because we had summer camp, but
Right.
it's an event we've always supported. Always been an outstanding event. So
So yeah, Mr. Tucker has always been so nice to me at tournaments. He's such a welcoming person. So I can understand why this is your sixth, seventh year going to his event. I noticed that one of your young female students had a set fight. What was that like having a student walking in with a set fight? And it was a very heartwarming post I saw you do on Facebook about the ability for kids to both be competitors and friends off of the mat.
right, and that's one of the things that this tournament has been about since I've known it. Um, it's been a good event for seasoned fighters, adults and children, but they highlight really a lot of the young youth fighters, and they've always gotten fighters from Venezuela to Puerto Rico, of course the U.S., all over the country. So they bring in a big Mexico. They bring in a big pool of young fighters and also adult fighters. And that's one thing highlighting the youth fighters has been very good. He's been one of the first, him and actually Bill Viola up in Pittsburgh, to really at a tournament put that spotlight on some of the youth fighters. So it was good. I had 2 female fighters in set fights. Um, One was Layla. She's 4. She's talkative. She's been in for about 6 months, and she was excited when I talked to her at first about a set fight. Um, Her parents are kind of nervous. They have never been to a tournament. Layla has only done that was her third tournament. Let's see, yeah, that was only her third tournament. No, her second tournament, actually. No, her third tournament. I'm sorry. So that was her third tournament. So again, I didn't know how she would do under the spotlight, lights off, can't see mom, can't see dad. Matter of fact, before the fight, we're in the backstage and we were warming up, and she's like, "I want to go see my mom." I was like, "All right, cool." So I took her to see her mom. She gave her a hug, and 30 seconds later, I pulled her out of there to get her mind right
Mhm.
and ready. But again, I like it. I like the fact that again, due to COVID, with a lot of tournaments not being attended, She, kids, grown ups and kids, adult students, just haven't had that time to meet others, meet some old friends and stuff like that. So it was a good feeling to see her in Madison. That was Corey's student. Just bond from the jump. We introduced them to each other, and from that moment, they everywhere they went, they were holding hands and just talking like they knew each other for years. But that's what my post was about, because you know the karate community growing as a whole and meeting new friends from across the nation in different areas. That's a lot of times, I'm not saying we get away from that, but
Mhm.
that can't be underestimated. Just meeting new friends and having that camaraderie. The parents are cool now too, so it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I personally agree. I was started competing very young, and I don't think I fully appreciated the fact that I had friends across the country. I just took it for granted that these are people that I compete with, that are my friends, and I had classmates that their friend circle were the 25 kids sitting next to them. So you're right. It's really a great thing how martial arts and competition brings us together. So that's actually really amazing that you had a student who's 4 and this is her second or third tournament. And there's some people who don't start competing until 10, 15. And so my next question for you as a coach, instructor, and school owner, what sort of philosophy do you instill in your students that make them want to get on the mat and compete?
It's different things. Of course, each student is different. I've had students um, walk in the dojo and they might see a trophy, and hey, they might ask, hey, Sensei or Master Williams, how do I get one of those? And we tell them, you train hard, you must know your first kata, and fight wise, you must know a couple basic combinations. You must, uh, know the proper scoring areas. So as long as they get that down, and they have that drive to compete, so some students come in the door, they might see that and want to compete. I've had people day one come in, they want to spar, and of course, well, back in the day pre-COVID, we did have a bucket full of sparring gear that, all right,
Mhm.
here's a mouthpiece. You can't kick below the belt. I'll show them the target areas and just see it. And we might have some students, it might take 2 months before they want to get out on the mat and spar. So it just depends on the student, but we make it fun. Um, we're all about basics. I consider us a blue collar school, nothing fancy,
Mhm.
just nuts and bolts, just blue collar. That's you know side kicks. Just it's just that's what I would consider us, just straight basic, fundamentally sound, and I love it. I love it. I don't. Sometimes I'll snatch a student up if they try some fancy stuff that they saw in a movie or something like that,
Mhm.
and I'll ask them straight up, "Did I teach you that?"
Mhm.
All right, well, don't do it. So, but yeah, I just make it fun for all our students. And like I said, some have that will to compete. Maybe they're in other sports, basketball, soccer, whatever. They're used to games. So, so I've had people ask, do you guys do tournaments?
Mhm.
Yes, we do tournaments. Maybe they're coming from a school that didn't. So it's all on the individual, but we do present it as if it is a safe environment. Um, all tournaments, pretty much, with the good judging that goes on. I just make sure they're prepared to have a good time.
So I've recently had a lot of younger kids on the Power Chat series, and I wanted to get your perspective on, they a lot of times, as students sort of get older, they want to try out different sports while they're doing martial arts, and maybe have a hard time balancing school and extracurriculars. And you see those really great kids who have like a calendar. My last guest was Alex from Paul Mitchell, and he has his whole life figured out with 10 different extracurricular activities. But, you know, as someone who has a lot of experience, how do you guide your students in making sure that they are excelling in all the priorities that they want to be?
Um, but one of the things, fortunate coming through the door, I let students and parents know in order to be in my karate school, you got to be straight in school. You got to be doing good in school and good at home. I've told them out of the years I've been teaching here, I have kicked students out of my school because they weren't doing what they're supposed to do at school or at home. I've walked through the door in their elementary school and told them not no longer part of MBS karate because I've given them chances to correct themselves and let them understand that karate is about being well balanced. Our school MBS stands for mind, body, and spirit. So you got to be level in all of those areas. You can be an outstanding athlete on the mat, but if your report card is not reflecting that, then I'm gonna tighten you up. And if you don't do it then, or you don't get right, can't play football. You can't do dance, anything like that. So I stress coming through the door with the parent, letting them know it's a team effort, and they do give me permission to. Well, it's different now with COVID, but they did give me permission to where at any time I can pop up into my students' elementary school, high school, middle school, or whatever. So putting that focus on it, letting the student know from jump that you got to be right in the classroom and at home. Then you can get right on the mat.
Mhm.
And I would say, fortunately, we've had a lot of students, past students, from my son Cobra to my nephew Flash to Storm, who's our first black belt here at MBS, to Batman to Warrior, that excelled tremendously in school.
Mhm.
And they've been a role model to all our students. And just letting them know that, yes, education is important. And to balance it out to where we have, it was times because MBS, I started teaching it in my living room for the first 5 years. I moved the couch, moved the love seat. Now, my son, if he had homework, even though we're in the living room practicing, he was doing his homework. He understood that. The other students understood that. And just like a karate tournament, someone getting a special awards or whatever, whenever my students have award ceremonies, we are there, just to support them and let them know that it is a vital part. So, and again, actually, we have an educational award named after um, Sensei Morgan Hawthorne, her name's Storm, and also Abby Maddox. Neither one of them, they're both in college now, but they both went their entire lives with straight A's. So, that's very impressive. So we named an educational award in their honor. And each year at our end of the year banquet, they present a student with the highest GPA with a
Wow.
special award. Yeah,
Wow, that's great. Just to have not only two role models, but an award to sort of work to, sort of having that both intrinsic and extrinsic motivation for the right reasons and the right motivations.
right.
Uh, my next question is, how do you get your students tournament ready? So what did preparation before the HIT internationals look like at your school?
Um, for hit, we followed our normal. I really stress conditioning. And I tell all my students, I don't care if you're a fifth degree black belt like myself or a white belt. You fight different when you are tired. So we really stepped it up condition wise. We've had a lot of dark 30 practices, is what I call it, But we usually meet about 5:45 in the morning when it's nice and cool. It's not still humid
Right.
out.
Because you're down in
And
Georgia, so it's
right,
hot down there.
crazy, yeah, crazy.
Mm,
So we might run about 3 miles, then we'll go practice for a couple hours. So it's more about the conditioning, timing. I let them know that when you're doing a lot of, especially with hit, because you have a lot of students or competitors, I should say, from Jamaica, Puerto Rico, everywhere that flocks down to this tournament. So um, you have to be ready with double elimination. You have to be conditioned. Mentally, you have to fight through injury. And
mhm,
so we primarily just stepped it up condition wise. And, we had, our practices were a little bit harder. We were sparring maybe about 3 to 4 days a week at that particular time. But they don't call it hit for no reason. And I like the center judge Murphy,
mhm,
my brother. He don't, even if it wasn't hit, you know, Sensei Murphy will make sure points are clean, no tappy tap crap, no touch. You gotta bring it and you gotta hit. You gotta hit. You hear Corey saying that all the time on the mic, but I do like that. I do like that you really gotta make contact to earn a point. And
mhm.
if Sensei Murphy felt that a point was given for a strike that wasn't deemed hard enough, he'll call his corner judges in and remind them, hey guys, let's make sure they're hitting. It's solid points. And so I like that. Shout out to Murphy and Team Velocity. Yes.
Great. So for my final question, like you said that you've been coming to this tournament since 2014 or 2015. What is the one, if you, there might be multiple, but what is the one number one reason that you keep going and are bringing your students to this event?
Um, Let me see. I mean, it's a great tournament with great competitors. And again, knowing what Mr. Corey is trying to do and his vision, it's something I will always support it. It runs well, good awards. Shout out to Mini Queen doing the belts and everything else, some of the other awards. But it's always good competition. And the locations is down in South Florida, Fort
Mhm,
Lauderdale, Miami. So that's always a good draw for my parents and my students. They like to go down there. Like I say, we usually get down a day early.
mhm.
Um, as an owner, though, I get worried, especially they want to be in the ocean the day before the tournament and their legs feeling. So
Uh, and
no
the
matter,
salt water makes them
yeah,
tired, and the sun,
yeah,
but it's hard to resist when the sun
right.
is
So I've
up.
been told, like some of the people who went down there early, I was like, hey, they can get into the water or the pool up until Thursday.
Mhm,
Friday, you know, no ocean. No, you guys can do all that after the tournament because double elimination, those legs get heavy. You have to be
mhm.
ready. But I will always support um, my brother, Mr. Corey, because again, it's always a great event. Good judging, good awards. The location is great, and it's like our last tournament usually before we go back to school up here in Georgia. So
Right.
we actually started school that Monday right after the tournament. So
Okay. All right. So then things are definitely going to get busy and kids won't be able to travel as much. Um, but thank you so much for coming onto the Power Chat series and talking about the tournament and your school and your students. It's been a great conversation to learn more about you guys.
all right, one more shout out too, because my other student I didn't get a chance to mention her, Nairobi. Um, she had a set fight as well. Again, I love the fact that her and her opponent they got a chance to talk to my brother's school, Arabian Nights, out of Kentucky, and they battle hard, they fight hard, just like us. And both of the young ladies went hard, and I like that. I really like that. So shout out to his fighter and our fighter, Miss Nairobi.
Great. All right. Well, I will hopefully have you back on the Power Chat series. And thank you again so much for your time and coming on.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night. Okay. And we are no longer live.